Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. It is the day after, the night before. Baz and John, James, all having a well-earned rest today after their unbelievable efforts over the last couple of days. Mike Cosgrove as well, hopefully is putting his feet up after what was a remarkable shift to earn what is now getting close to £24,000, I believe. Getting close to that, I think, is so. Unbelievable effort. The Just Giving is still open if anyone wants to donate, no matter how little, how large. It is still open. So yeah. So good. Just a brilliant, absolutely amazing effort from the lads. And as I said, having a well-earned day off today. Baz hopefully getting to spend some quality time with his new grandson, which he exclusively have revealed yesterday on the show, if you were listening. He does have a 5-day-old grandson at home, which is one of the reasons why I didn't go to the studio yesterday. So that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant for him, and hopefully, as I said, hopefully he's having some well-earned time with him and his daughter today, just chilling out and just relaxing. So yeah, I've Everton yesterday got the one in meal and roll. Come in and a attacking midfielder, young attacking midfielder, 6'3", looks a tidy player. Not sure it was 100% what we needed in terms of, like, if you were going to get one in, but good for the squad. Someone who doesn't have to, there isn't a pressure on the player to come straight into the team and prove himself. Someone who can, very much like Tyler Dibblin, can work his way into the squad. So he looks a talented player, but I think he's not exactly what we needed. And I think that would have been the right back, really, wouldn't it? I think that's the only thing. I think that's the only position we've missed out on, really, in the window. For me, it's a right back. Maybe, things just didn't align. Patterson maybe not going out, or Everton maybe not being able to get the one they wanted, so Patterson didn't go out, and that happens sometimes. It's dependent on other things happening. At this point, Everton were never going to go and get the right back, which is, like, the future of Everton at right back. So Everton have got to be on the lookout for that player now. That becomes the first choice now. That becomes the one that Everton should be looking high and low for, and scouting everywhere for that right back who's going to be the future, who's going to take us forward in that position. Because as much as I like Jake O'Brien, he's not a right back. He's not a right back whatsoever. So we need to get a specialised player in that position. I suppose we do have backup with Seamus and Nathan Patterson, but backup for a centre back just seems a little bit strange for me. We need someone who's going to be long term in that role. And I've said many a time, I'm not a person who likes the idea of players moving out of position to play in that role. Like, the idea of James Garner playing right back, to me, is just nonsensical, because he's just starting to understand the role in midfield. So I don't want him really moving. So we'll see what happens. Listen, there's still a few free transfers out there that we could pick up if we really needed them. I don't think I don't think we will. I don't think we will, but who knows? Who knows? Things can change very, very quickly. Yeah, very disappointed that we never got Dave Tubbs. It's the one that got away. The one that got away was Dave Tubbs. So disappointed with not getting that one over the line. But maybe next window. But listen, everything couldn't. I think we've had a really good window. I think the players we've brought in have massively improved us. I think we've turned the age round as well. You know, you look at like Diblin, 19, Maitland Roll, 23, Asnu, you know, what's he? He's like 19, isn't he, as well? So we've yes, okay, Grealish, 29, Dewsbury Hall, 27, but they're in the, you know, certainly Dewsbury Hall's in the peak of his career. So we've turned the age, I think, round. Barry as well, or 21, 22. So we've turned the age round as well, which is massive as well. That we've got a few players there now who are not for the future, they're for now, but they're young players as well. So which is good, and we'll see what happens. It wasn't always going to be getting done in one window, nor should it really. Because talented players cost money. It's just about bedding in the squad, isn't it? And trying to go up a level and then bringing in more players. And that's how teams become successful within the league. Is by doing that. Is by bringing players in bit by bit, adding, improving. But we look like we've got a decent squad now. Most positions have got a couple of players in them. It allowed us to send Harrison Armstrong out on loan, which I think is a really big thing, because I think him playing, and I'm sure he will play week in and week out for Preston, because we saw what happened when he went to Derby County, and he was in the team all the time. Once he got in, he was in, and he was a massive player for them. So I think once he, you know, I think there'll be things in there in that which Preston will have fought off other teams as well, and for the reason would have been he's close to home as well. Moyes can keep an eye on him, but he'll play week in and week out, and that's exactly what he needs to be doing right now. I did see a few people disappointed, but I do think it's really important that he's playing football and he's laying, and we all know how talented a footballer he is. But there's no point him sitting on the bench playing playing a little bit here and a little bit there. He needs to be playing. So that's a good one for him. The other loan moves I don't really think are don't really think they benefit Everton really too much. But Harrison Armstrong going is massive. Obviously Schmitty leaving as well. David Moyes obviously had made his mind up on him. Thinks the end of last season, I'm not getting more game time. Sort of showed where David Moyes was with him. And that just didn't fancy him. Didn't think he was good enough. Didn't think he was going to improve quick enough. And I don't think there's too much evidence to suggest otherwise, really. I think he was a player that we all wanted to do well, and was sort of hoping off a few little bits and pieces we'd seen that he would. But really, when you look back, there wasn't that much evidence, and there certainly wasn't that much evidence within the Premier League And bringing Barry in, who we'll have to work on, was always going to mean Schmidt was going to get barely any time. So they made the call on him. They got some money in for him, and they'll have used that money to help bring in Mail and Roll. So I'm surprised maybe there wasn't maybe one more, but I suppose it comes down to whether there was any offers, say for Dwight McNeil. But just because Dwight McNeil's not getting game time or eat time off the bench right now doesn't mean he won't be going forward. Football changes very, very quickly, and one minute you're sitting on the bench, then the next minute you are playing. So we'll wait and see on that one. But definitely the right back is definitely the one I think most people will agree on. Maybe people I've seen people mention maybe a fast winger as well, a fast right winger. But I think once we brought Dibbling in for that kind of money, then I don't think there was much chance of bringing another one in. So yeah, it is what it is, and obviously once we're all back together, we'll have a good chat about it, about what we feel, how we feel. But I think the squad levels have definitely gone up. They've definitely gone up. You saw that in the last couple of games, and you saw that certainly Saturday. Good players playing together just creates moments. Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and Njai playing there. That's going to be a worry for any team we play against. And then, Dibbling can come in on the right-hand side. Mail and Roll can come in probably for the Dewsbury Hall position, but bit further forward. So I suppose maybe another number 6 as well would have been beneficial. But I suppose the way the squad is, we can move people around and change the position slightly so that we're not stuck to what we've got. So we'll see what happens as we go forward. Let's have a look at some of your thoughts. Change the position. Turn myself off. Thank you for all the to get well soon. I just, I just can't shake whatever this is off. It's just me. I had 9 hours sleep and I feel knackered. I just can't shake it off at all. So maybe a couple more days. It's just doing me head in though. It's just absolutely doing me head in. Gary Ward says hello, howdy, sorry. Steve P says, what are your thoughts on Mail and Roll? Great sign, in my opinion. I see people saying he's attacking mid similar to Souček. He's nothing like him. He plays multiple positions when he's had to be, but he's a box-to-box, strong technical midfielder who's good on the ball. Also, really fast, especially for his size. Just watch the solo goal he scored. I think people will be surprised how good he is. He definitely has attributes to playing the number 6 as well. Well, we'll see, Steve, and the reason I say that is because German football isn't it's not the strongest league. Physically, it's not the strongest league. I was watching on Friday night. I was watching Hamburg versus St. Pauli, and the players don't look that big. They look a lot slighter than Premier League players. And this lad doesn't look that big, to be honest, in terms of like when you look at Premier League players and how strong they look. He looks like a stiff breeze, blow him over. So that's my first sort of issue with saying he can play all kinds of positions. I just think physically, he's got to get hold of these players. Not that many German players do it in the Premier League. Let's be honest. There's not that many German players who have, in the last sort of 10 years have been amazing. So we'll have to give them time, build them up, have patience with them. So that's my only. It's not a worry as such, because that's what they'll have known when they were buying them. But I wouldn't expect them to go straight into the team. And he looks like a lot of German players. If you just watch German football, he just looks. I think you look at Harry Kane. Harry Kane looks massive compared to German footballers. Like, they just Premier League players just have a physicality about them that not many leagues have, and that's what separates the Premier League to a lot of other leagues, is that. And I think that's why we buy so many French sort of players who come from the French league, is because the French league, if they're athletes. Premier League footballers are like big fellas, who, if you ever like see them in the flesh, you see how big they are. And as I said, I'm not sure right now you see a lot of that in the German league. So that's the first thing they're going to have to do, is get hold of them and fill them out a bit, and get them on a few of those machines in Finch Farm to build them out a little bit. Just saying it takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of time with the German players. Mark says, good afternoon, you troopers. Baz, you're an animal. What a fun 24 hours. Edit, never mind. Hype head. Matt says, afternoon. Simply outstanding work and achievement yesterday. 24-hour live and money raised for the Kevin Campbell Foundation. A word on our manager. Standards have been on their arse at this club, and it was seeping into some of the fan base, especially under the last fella. But Moyes was everything we needed and more. Only he could do what was need to be done, because he takes it personally from an Everton point of view. No, Matt, absolutely spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. It is. We've said it for a long time. It needed. I think this is where people for a while have said, like, it needed an Evertonian in charge, someone who understood, not someone who come in from the outside and was like, "Oh no, I'll learn to understand," or and Dyche with his, Dyche with his, just, I don't know, but you talk about the fans in a certain way. We'd say things are nice about the fan base, but that's not actually knowing what the fan base want. Whereas Moyes is like the closest thing, isn't he, to a player? He's an ex-manager who's got this club ingrained into him. So he was the closest thing to getting an ex-player back, and he does understand the values of the football club and the mentality of the football club, and I think they're massively important. Massively important. Mark says, did we get what we needed on deadline day? I think pretty much, though everyone will point to the lack of a right back as a failure. Me personally think Moyes simply didn't feel it was a priority position given whatever funds we had left, and it was actually available. Very excited for Raul, though. Yeah. I think it'll be a priority position next time. Liam says, from Bournemouth away last season to this in less than 12 months is insane progress. Absolutely made up. Derek says, No, we didn't get everything we needed, but with so many players out the door last season, it was a tall order who we've brought in, improves the squad almost out of recognition. Would I have liked a right back DM winger with pace and an extra striker? Of course, but confident going forward and actually looking forward to the next game, which is novel experience. PS, what is the final total raised for the Kevin Campbell Fund? Well, there isn't a final total because it's still open and it will be open for the rest of the week. It's currently, I think, 23,400. So we're keeping that open for the rest of the week. Gary says, I don't think we got everything we needed, but we did pretty well. Adam says, if there are no right backs available that fit the budget as well, being ready to start Premier League games, then I'm okay to delay it till January or next summer. In previous years, we'd have let Patterson go without bringing in a replacement, and it might be harsh on him, but it's the right decision from the club to make sure that we've got enough cover, another chance for him to step up when called upon. The only thing I'd say about Patterson is, I think maybe we should have made a decision on him earlier. I think we should have maybe made that decision earlier. I think the manager doesn't really fancy him, but understands that he needs him for squad depth. But maybe if we'd come to that conclusion a little bit quicker, I don't think the manager's ever fancied him. Let's be honest. The end of the season, he just stopped using him, didn't he? So I think the manager is well aware of his future, but circumstances, other positions, as people have said there, other positions needed filling where we had nobody. At least we have players for the right back position. At least there are players who can play in the right back position. Glenn Watson says, great work by the lads on the 24-hour stream, but I saw you posted a big run on Strava yesterday, which looked epic. Yes, Glenn, of course, I did do a huge run yesterday. Of course I did. Martin says, a good window, just strange we didn't get a right back after Tete looked to be the early signing. Overall, much stronger than last season and have a chance against any team. Yeah, it's mad that, isn't it? It's like the first signing could have been that right back, which would have sorted us out for a couple of years. Would have just been that. Would have just give us that cover that we needed for a couple of years. And it slipped through the net, sadly. It is weird, like, it is weird that could have been the opportunity, and then it was sitting at the end of going, oh, we missed out on a right back. So funny. Blue Jay says, good transfer window. Let's be honest, it's the best window for Everton in years. We look miles better than we did last season, and I see no reason why we can't have a positive season. Be nice to have brought in a right back for another striker, but hard to do in one window given the volume of players needed. There's always an opportunity to strengthen there in January. Finally, well done again, lads, on the money raised for the Kevin Campbell Foundation. Superb effort from everyone, and I'm glad that I could contribute a small part of it. Thank you, Blue Jay. Brian Ball says, no bats, John or James. Oof, part-timers. I'm saying nothing. Mark says, well done, lads. Super Kev will be proud. We don't have many players away on international duty, so this is a great chance to get more players to settle and gel. Glad we got a centre mid who looks decent from the YouTube clips. Brady SFX says, hope you're feeling better, Ped. We still look like boils. How did you find the transfer window? I didn't find it, mate. I just left it. I just left the transfer window to do its own work. So to be honest, much of yesterday I just sat in a quiet room and didn't even have the TV on. I couldn't be bothered with all the hype over certain players going to certain clubs. I just couldn't be bothered with it. Like, it was a big shock to the world that players had forced their moves, and the glee in which the glee in which Sky take in it is just abysmal to me. The like when players are leaving clubs that desperately need them, or asking the questions of like why are like Aston Villa not bringing in players or whatever. It's just I find it all a little bit sickening, to be honest. It just it's just embarrassing, to be honest, to me. Oh, something's happened at Liverpool's training ground. Well, of course something's happened because you've been talking about it for the last 2 months. You've been talking about it while this fella has just sat on his contract and gone on strike. And then Newcastle fans are calling him a rat. And then they go and buy the same, a fella who's done exactly the same at Brentford. It's just hilarious. It's just hilarious the way they do it is, the way it's done and the way they talk about it and the way it's like, so someone's had an amazing window, but someone hasn't had an amazing, like, it's just like, it's just mad. It is mad the way. I'm not saying people are breaking the rules because they're not breaking the rules. It's just the way the rules are structured. The rules are structured so that Aston Villa can't buy players. And all they're trying to do is get to play in the Champions League and try and get on the same footing as every. I find that I know there has to be rules, and I know we've talked about this a million times, but I just find the rules mental. I find them mental that clubs can't buy players, and then Newcastle can't buy players. Whether you like Newcastle or not, they can't buy players. So the player they have bought goes on strike to sign for a club that is already going to win the league, and then the TV company is just losing their mind over it like it's the greatest thing in the world when it's not. It's not the greatest thing in the world. Okay, for Liverpool fans, it is the greatest thing in the world. Or if it happened if the player was going to City or whoever, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. It actually ruins like the spectacle for that TV company. Like I just don't get it. Like it's supposed to be like it's not real news, so there's no editorial standards, but it's just like our Newcastle have got that. I don't care what anyone feels about Newcastle, but our Newcastle supposed to build a team when they're not allowed to buy players, and then a player who's in his prime knows that. So he's like, well, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go somewhere where I know I'm guaranteed to win trophies. It's just Football Manager. It's just cheat mode Football Manager. And that's not really anything about. That's not anything about Liverpool, by the way. In case there's any like stray Liverpool fans watching this, that's not anything about Liverpool. Liverpool have put themselves in a position where they are a fantastically well-run football club and didn't really spend that much money last year. So and I've won all the trophy, won the league, and they built the stand and all that kind of thing, and they've got a massive deal with Adidas and all that. So they've got loads of money. And in fact, Liverpool, you can actually see where their money comes from. Chelsea, Chelsea, God knows where their money's come from or is coming from. Whereas Liverpool, at least you can say, well, they won the league. I mean, Chelsea, you can say they won the World Club Championship, so that's where a big load of money come from. Whereas Liverpool, you can go, well, they won the league, got a big deal with Adidas, blah, blah, blah. you can understand that. But it's just this again. It's just this. We've got Villa and we've got Newcastle who can't buy players until they sell a player, but they don't want to sell a player. This player goes on strike. It's just mad, and something just needs to be changed because players going on strike, and then there's a narrative now of, well, if you don't go on strike, then you don't get your move because the lad from Crystal Palace. It's just mad. It's just mad. There's got to be a better system. There's got to be a better system where clubs can not just buy who they want. By the way, that's not the answer either. But there has to be a better system than what we've got right now because players going on strike is not the answer. Because people think it's hilarious till it happens to their club. And there's just got to be a better system. Because and this is the thing, right? And I'm just seeing it in the comments there. Everyone just goes, oh, who cares about them? Well, yeah, till it happens to your club. Till Everton suddenly are doing all right. And then someone comes around and says, oh, if you want to go any further, you've got to sell Branthwaite. And you're like, well, if we sell Branthwaite, then we're going to go down a couple of pegs because he's one of our best defenders. And that's the problem. Whereas the clubs in the top four don't have to sell anybody. They can just keep buying. Or if they do sell, it's the selling players that they've already got who aren't good enough anymore, but they're selling them for like 80 odd million quid to bloody Saudi Arabia. There's so much going on at the moment that needs to be sorted out. It's just it's just the same thing over and over again. Anyway, David says congratulations all round. Still need of a Charleston type forward. Interesting. Mark says I thought he was a defensive midfielder. Nailing, no, he's a little bit of everything. I think he's a little bit of everything. Blue Keeley says, thanks for coming on, Peb. Wasn't expecting a live after the 24-hour shift from the lads. Hope you're feeling better. Well, I had to sort of obviously the lads 1878, what are you talking about? Could I be any negative? I think I'm talking how most people feel at the moment in terms of general football. That's not negativity. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. How can football continue to work like this? Players can't be going on strike. Players can't be going on strike to move. There's nothing negative about talking about the truth. That's not negative. Players can't be going on strike. So there has to be some kind of change to stop that from happening. That's not negativity. That's what's going on in football. Yeah, Blue Key, yeah, I had to come on today because the lads deserve some time off. So, David said tremendous effort yesterday, but I think Creswell, Zuma, and Kufal are all free agents. Could you see Moyes picking them? No. Josh says, nice to see you, Ped. Hoping we can get a striker or a right back on a fray, but maybe January will be okay for the right back. Really hope Pato steps it up, but I can see him. I can only imagine how he finished how finished he is with Everton, unfortunately. Yeah. It'll continue to be Jake O'Brien, won't it? Let's be honest. But unfortunately, Patterson's done himself absolutely no favours, has he? He's done himself no favours. He was poor in America. He was poor at the end of last season. So, Marx's role has also played fullback before. Yeah, seen that, but like we don't want him playing fullback, do we? We want players. We want players who play in their positions, playing their positions. Said this consistently. The days of football where players are filling in, it should be should be well done. You can have 9 subs. There should be no reason anymore. No reason anymore where you have a situation where James Garner's playing left back, right? That shouldn't happen. That should not happen. You've got enough subs now. This is why the Premier League is just, again, so incredibly strong. It's because Premier League clubs can afford to put players on the bench that are earning much more than players are earning abroad. Like yesterday, I was listening and to more Palace, and it was like Palace are bringing in a centre back from Milan, and I just, when you're just thinking, if you're as old as me and as old as a lot of people watching, a lot of people who are watching this who are probably a similar age to me, the idea of Crystal Palace buying a player from Milan is just like when I was a kid, in my teens, Milan had the best defenders in the world, like the best defenders in the world. In fact, the greatest defender of all time, Paolo Maldini. When you think about him and Baresi, and you just think, how have we got to this situation? Well, we know how we've got to this situation, but we're talking about Crystal Palace buying players from Milan. It is absolutely mental. The power. The Premier League is essentially a Super League of its own making now, and it's just crazy. Bournemouth buying players, from Italy, and nine subs. It's the benches are all strong, so really you shouldn't need players to play in multiple positions. You should have two players for every position at least. Some teams have 3 now. A youngster backing them up. And it shouldn't be this thing of, so-and-so can play in that position, so-and-so can play in that position. That's why we should have got, that's why we needed a right back, essentially. It should be, your player plays in his position, and that's the end of it. They shouldn't ever have to move out of that position, in my opinion, anyway. I think that's just the way football is now, and that's the way the top clubs are. Top clubs are very rarely going to have players. Don't get me wrong, it still happens. I think Liverpool have had a few problems with right back, haven't they, in the last few months. So, of course, it'll still happen. But then some managers like to work with smaller squads. But I want players focusing on their position. And not getting pulled out. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it helps. I mean, I think it's helped Jake O'Brien in many ways that he's played at right back and he has got game time. But in the real world, you'd want a right back who can play right back and would be playing in that position, and a backup right back who's going to play ahead of Jake. So, Glenn says, I don't mind O'Brien getting game time at right back, as I'm not sure how long Taki and Brantwaite combo will last. Paddy says, hope you're feeling a bit better. I'd feel like we're a right back injury or forward injury to fall apart, but otherwise think it's been a decent window. Yeah. Blue Keeley says, just seen a thing saying average age of our outfield signings is less than 23. Brilliant. Happy the Andy says still has to be one of the best windows we've had in a very long time. Absolutely. Kevin Maloney says Dwight McNeil is going to have to play versus Man City. Hopefully we don't play them during the AFCON. Why? Why would they have to, Kev? I think we do have to actually play them through the AFCON at the AFCON. Don't we play them Boxing Day? But that's one game, isn't it? That's one game. And that shouldn't mean if someone's going to stay at your club or not. When did we play Man City? No, we played them in October. So obviously Jack will be missing for that one, and Tyler Dibblin would come in against City with Njai on the other side. So I don't think the manager's going to want to play McNeil in many games this season. I don't think the manager fancies him at all. I don't think he does. So I think if the manager could have got rid of him, he probably would have got rid of him. Let's have a look. Where are we? Chad says, "Man, you sound really poorly. Get well soon." Cheers, mate. I'm just really tired. I just can't seem to. Can't really seem to just quite get over it. Let's have a look. Happy the Andy says, "Do you see Roll as a Ghana style all action midfielder offer pretty much everything given he's attacking and defensive?" Let's wait and see, mate. I don't really know. I don't really know what they see him as. That's the most important thing, isn't it? What do they see him as? David Savage says he looks good on YouTube. Paul Williams says happy with the transfer window in general. It's been a lot to do in one window. We are a better team than the end of last season. We are moving forward, hopefully. Get a few more in January if needed. All in all, we are doing well. Agree, we still need a right back, right winger and striker. Was expecting a few squad fillers yesterday, but rather get the gaffer wanted than what we need. Yeah, then who knows? Let's say maybe early January we could get a couple in, and that would help with the squad for the AFCON. With it's 3 away, isn't it? So it's Ghana and Jai, obviously with Senegal, and they're going to be one of the favourites. And as news away as well, isn't he? I think that. So Astro says most positive window for the club since we brought in McCarthy, Barry, and Lukaku. I'm proper made up. Hope you're feeling better soon, mate. Well, Astro, you did send me something yesterday, didn't you? Let me just... And I don't know whether it got read out. But this is from Astro's son, Easton, who watches a lot of German football. He says, "Man Roll is a rising German midfielder who is 1.92 metres tall. He's known for his physical presence, technical skill, versatility, and ability to contribute defensively in a number 6 role, but can also carry the ball and can be quite tidy in attack. On the international level, Roll has represented Germany at multiple youth levels, ranging from under 18 to under 21. He captained the German under 21 side in the final of European Championships and helped them reach the final of that tournament. Overall, Roll is widely regarded as technical and physical midfielder, comparing to Amadou Onana in lots of ways. Although he is a gamble due to his recent injury record, to sign a player as highly regarded as he is, with his best years ahead of him for what will end up being €20 million fee, is superb business from Evan." There you go. That is a scouting report from Astro's son, Easton, who grew up in Germany, so and has kept an eye on it. So nice one for that. Charlie Freak says, I'm happy with the transfers. Rome wasn't built in a day. We know it will take more windows. No need to panic into poor signings anymore. Have faith. I don't think Moyes will buy poor signings, mate. I think that's the thing. I don't think he will buy poor signings. Shelley, it might be COVID. I've done a test. It might be COVID. And again, that's why I stayed away from the studio, because I don't know what I've got. And as I said, Baz has got vulnerable people in his life at the moment. So that's why I didn't go to the studio. Jay said, Pedro, my old beauty, hope you're on the mend, mate. Thanks, Jay. Leicester correspondent, Jay there. Eddie says, I was pretty confident that we weren't getting plays on deadline day. Well, I was confident. In fact, I was so confident that on Sunday night, I sent the flight to Baz that Mail and Roll was on. That's how confident I was. So, Glenn says, question for me. I won't say what you've called me, Glenn. A player going to City or the Reds is not the best thing in the world, but in your opinion, what is the best thing in the world? True love, finding your passion in life, helping others, your dog's expensive and luxurious winter coat selection. I think it's got to be all of those four things, Glenn. I think it's got to be all those four things all rolled into one. I think all those things are equally as important as each other, especially finding your dog a luxurious coat. Doesn't have to be an expensive coat. Can still, doesn't have to be expensive. David says, guess it works both ways with clubs throwing players into the under-21s or training on their own to get them, etc. No, look, do you know what, David? I absolutely agree. Clubs treat footballers like crap when they want to. It's not the idea of players going on strike. I'm not sitting here being all angry because players have gone on strike. It's more to do with why they're going on strike. It's more to do with the idea is that maybe players feel like they're trapped at clubs and that they need to move because the club they're at isn't going anywhere. So it's certainly not like, don't like to see players go on strike. But also there's definitely another side of the story where players will maybe have an agreement. Wissa said he had a written agreement. Isaac said he had a verbal agreement where clubs have said, we'll let you go, and then they've gone back on it. So the clubs aren't innocent in this. But I think we have to find a better way for this we have to find a better way than what we've got at the moment, because it's restricting clubs from moving forward when they've got the money. But at the same time, we don't want clubs to just be able to go and do what they want. But then yet someone like City just seems to do what they want anyway. Not City. Chelsea seem to do what they want anyway. So, I don't know. I haven't got the answer anyway. I haven't got the answer. Glenn says, the Rock McPartland says, know your damn role. Roll. ROHL. Luke says, it makes me hate Newcastle even more. The fact they folded to give the shite guaranteed dominance for years to come. Get better soon, Ped. Thank you for going live for this today. Yeah. They always were though, weren't they? The player was always going to win. Once they obviously had to go and find another player to replace him, and once they'd found the player, then it was always going to be the case. They were always going to sell him, because why would you keep a player when you can bring in 125 million. But then they immediately bought Wissa, who had just done the same thing. So it's no one can really say anything. But as I said, I think football has to change somewhere. What's that one? Isha Samuel Smith has rejoined Chelsea from Strasbourg 33 days after signing a payment deal with the French club. He's gone on loan to Swansea though, hasn't he? That was a Piv signing, that. Piv got his man. So well done to him. Well done to him. Let me have a look. I'll tell you what the donations are, because people are still donating, and I've been during the show, which is fantastic. £23,431. So people are still donating. So if you hadn't have the chance, please do. Please continue to donate. Let's see what's going on. Kevin Maloney says, "Are you sure you're not faking it? Looking for a move to Cherry's TV, the Bournemouth fan channel." Well, I'll be honest, Kev. If I was faking it to go anywhere, it wouldn't be to Cherry's TV. Let's be honest. If I was gonna go anywhere, I'd want to stay in the M53 corridor. So it would probably be to one of the Manchester fan channels. But I'm not pushing for a move at this time, at this juncture. I'm very happy where I am at the moment, and we just hope to progress. And hopefully, I've been given assurances that we will, and let's see what happens next transfer window. Charlie Freak says, "Had a call from my cousin who lives in Cologne. He says role is very similar to French player Adrien Rabiot, both in stature and style. He can be brilliant 1 minute and terrible the next." Well, I mean, that's a fantastic. That's a fantastic assessment of him. I think the most important thing is that it's a young lad who isn't going straight into the team. He ain't going straight into the team. So there's no pressure on him. Very similar to Diblin. There's no pressure on him at all. So did I say M53? I meant M56. Yeah, we don't want to go down the M53. Although you go down the M53, you can go to Cheshire Oaks. Go to Cheshire Oaks. That's not bad. Hey, who's that? Mich. Me and Goldbridge, mate. I'm saying it right. That would be a show. And I've actually said this to him. Not that he needs me. I need him. But me and Goldbridge would be a show. That would be a hell of a show. Me just sitting there every time he says something, just going, "What the fuck are you saying, lad? What are you saying?" I think that would be a hell of a show. It would be. I think it would be unbelievable. But unfortunately, I'm not quite seen in those places. So thank you, Shirley. Thank you. I'm not seen in those places. So, me just bringing down Goldbridge, I think would be just a fantastic show. I think it'd be amazing. But I think it'd be gold. I think it'd be TV gold. I don't know. There doesn't need to be a charity boxing match. I'd absolutely kill him. I'd kill him. I've stood next to him. I'd kill him, but I wouldn't want that either. I don't actually mind the lad. I don't actually mind the lad. I don't, but I do think me and him on a show would be fire. Um, I'm just not quite. I'm not in that division, sadly. Not in that division. Um, I would love to be just let off just let off the chain. Let's be honest. Let off the Toffee TV chain to just go mental. It would be. I think it would be amazing. It'd be amazing television. Um, get me Goldbridge and I show speed in a room, and I think we'd have the most unbelievable fireworks you've ever seen in your life. But it ain't gonna ever happen. So there we go. I'd love to see it. I have done something with him and it was good. And I did say to him we should do something. And he was like, "Yeah, he doesn't need me. He's got bloody Bundesliga coverage. For God's sake." Semi-charmed life. Me and Baz are better than anybody. I don't care less. I couldn't care less what anybody says, right? And I don't mind blowing my own our own trumpets here, right? But me and Baz are better than anybody else who does this. Anybody else. I don't care what anybody says. We are simply better than anybody out there who does this. I will say that forever. There is nobody else who has the chemistry we have and can has the knowledge that we have and can wind people up and wind ourselves up. And there's nobody else out there. There might be channels who are really, really good at drawing things and showing you all this and all that. But there's just like simply, honestly, if you put me and Baz on like the rest is football, we'd destroy them. We'd absolutely destroy them. I have no issues about that. There's like if you stuck us not even on the overlap on the other one, the overlap with the other fans, I watch them and we run circles around all of them. Literally run circles around all of them. There is no other channel. I don't care what anybody says. No other channel that is as good as us. Simple as that. There's just not. And Goldbridge is unbelievable for his one-liners, but we would destroy him. You'd watch all these channels, and they're just I don't know. I don't see it with half of them, but it's just some of them are just so one way or go the other way. Nah, honestly, stick me and Baz on the rest of this football, and we'd absolutely just destroy all of them. So I have no issue saying that either. So any of them, any of the Man United channels, the Arsenal, whatever. There's none out there. There's just none. Any of the ones like any of them. I won't even name names, but there's loads of these ones where it's like just three fans from different clubs, and they just happen to be three big clubs. The one that really annoys me is, if there's one that annoys me, it's the one that Sky do on a Saturday morning, and it never has anybody, like any Everton representation on it. It's always the same clubs all the time. And you just think, do us a favour, send one of us down there, we'll just destroy you. Yeah. Because they're all either dead serious or trying to be too funny. And it's just, they don't, I'm not asked. I'll say it all day. I say it all day. We are old enough to have enough experience, but young enough to know what's going on, and it's yeah. Movie Worm says non-Everton related. What's your film of the year so far? Oh, don't know, to be honest. I have seen all the stuff in Liverpool being Gotham against cool. That's cool. For the Clayface film, that's boss. I love that. And it's not even the same Gotham as last time either. It's a different Gotham. It's in different universe. But that's cool. I love seeing Liverpool being a film set. The MRI, the Bournemouth channel, did it have David Icke? Wow, amazing. Yeah, I remember when people knew that he was an absolute fucking lunatic, and now people actually take him seriously, and that shows you where the world is right now. That I remember when people knew that he was an absolute barn pot, and now he gets the time of the day, and that's what's wrong with the world. There you go. Oh, right, what time are we on here? 2 o'clock. I'm finishing in a minute because Gary Ward's is simply the best. And if Gary Ward's is simply the best, then we are simply the best. That's it. Saturday Social. I won't watch that because Tomlinson is on it and used to watch football daily. He made that unbearable. Stumpeg did take a shot at Everton once, though. She actually knows what she's talking about, though, that girl. She does actually know what she's talking about, to be fair. But there you go. I'm still trying to think of me film of the year. I don't know. Do you know what was good that loads of people didn't see? And don't get me wrong, this is not film of the year or anything, right? Tell you what was good. The Gorge on Apple TV. That was good. That was really good. I really liked that. If you haven't seen that, it's definitely worth watching. I watched F1 the other night. That was all right. Except for the first 30 minutes, the commentators basically explaining how F1 worked was really off-putting. But that was good. I enjoyed F1 just as a pure popcorny film. But The Gorge, no. The Gorge is good. Now, Graham, there's a difference between being balmy and being dangerous. And there's a lot of dangerous people out there at the moment who are getting a little too much airtime. And credibility. Come and see best war movie ever made. Heavy. What's that on? What? I knew that doesn't sound like a. That doesn't. Is that? That doesn't sound like an English speaking film. To be honest. Dark horses soon, Ped. You talking about Everton being dark horses? Or you talking about slow horses? Slow horses is back soon. No, I know, but German football. Just watch German football. The players aren't physically built as big as Premier League players. That's what I'm saying. So that means that when players come into our, let's be honest, not too many players who've played in Germany are massively successful here. So it does take time to players to adjust, and that's why him not being a player going straight into the team is a good thing. Build him up a little bit. A Russian film? Are we allowed to watch Russian films? Atomic. No, it's supposed to be that TV program. It's supposed to be terrible, isn't it? Do you know what? I don't really watch TV shows on Sky. Weirdly, especially the English made ones. I don't. I'm gonna watch that one with Dingo in it. It looks a bit dark and gritty. Dingo plays the Hulk. That looks a bit dark and gritty anyway. I'm gonna watch that. I'm watching Dingo at the moment. Trying to think, my mind is just Foundation on Apple. It's high level sci-fi. You have to be proper on it to watch it, and it's got so many. It's so incredibly intelligent that you just can't take your eyes off it for a second, or you just miss a massive thing that comes back about 3 series on, and they go, "Oh, when Thingio done this, remember that?" And you're like, "Nope, nobody remembers that because it happened 3 years ago." Nobody remembers it, and that's what it's like. It's called Foundation. It's like books from 60, 70 years ago. By I think the guy basically invented sci-fi. So it is a brilliant show. They spent a fortune on it. I don't even know if anyone watches it. Apple don't care. Apple just don't care. They just spend a fortune. All the best TV shows are on Apple. Nobody watches them unless it's Ted Lasso. And they don't care because they don't care how much money they spend on them. They're not interested. They're just not bothered. I'm not watching Finnish movies, and I'm not watching Russian movies, war movies. It just sounds grim. It sounds really, really good, grim. The Expanse is pretty good. Yeah, that wasn't Hubbard. Isn't I thought L. Ron Hubbard was the fella who invented Scientology. Is that who? Let me see. Hang on, let me find out. Isaac Asimov. It was. He also invented the 3 rules of robotics. Hubbard invented Scientology. He didn't write this, did he? I'm not watching Peacemaker. I'm not really that arsed with the DC stuff unless it's Batman. Not really that bothered. But they said they were unfilmable. Said they were totally unfilmable, and but now they can film them. But they cost a hell of a lot of money, and it's all on the screen. But as I said, Apple don't care. Apple don't care. Right, I'm going because I'm knackered. Oh, hang on, let me see do some more comments. Mark Max says, where to struggle the Liverpool so far because of the physical side of the league. Kevin Maloney says, have you watched Arcane on Netflix? I don't usually go for animation, but it's really good story. Kev, I have watched Arcane. It's absolutely brilliant. Arcane is fantastic. It's based off like a game, but it's brilliant. The animation is unbelievable. It's like that French animation style. It's absolutely brilliant. Gary Wood says he loved The Expanse. No, there is no vodka in that. It was water with powdered electrolytes. I have a big tub of electrolyte stuff. So it was that's what it was. Yeah. right, I'm gonna go. I'm sure we'll be back in the studio tomorrow, or I might be back in the studio, but I'm sure we'll be back to normal. But yeah, the lads will be back whenever they're back because they deserve a day off or two. So, but I'm sure they'll be back. We'll be back. There's no rush with it being international break, but there you go. Right, I will catch you all later. See you later. Bye.